all started with a smile. Your soft eyes peeking through my soul. And though it feels like a while, he cautiously as this unfolds. But it feels like heaven when I'm with you. Arms wrapped so tight I can tell when you breathe. Feel your heartbeat beating on me. And it seems like forever when you're away. So I take my lucky stars for the day you came. And you wipe my tears away. And now there's no more gray skies over my head now. Sun is breaking through, and it's all because of you. Now there's no more gray skies over my head now. Sun is breaking through, and it's all because of you. Say, you don't have to say a word, lie next to me, let's drift away. It all feels like a blur, moving so fast, and we both pray that we can withstand the fray. But it feels like heaven when I'm with you. Arms wrapped so tight I can tell when you breathe. Feel your heartbeat beating on me. And it seems like forever when you're away. So I thank my lucky stars for the day you came. And you wiped my tears away. And now there's no more gray skies over my head now. Sun's breaking through, and it's all because of you. Now there's no more gray skies over my head now. Sun's breaking through, and it's all because of you. Say, I feel your heart pulling on me. Yeah. Just like a puppet, you hold the strings. Yeah, I am all yours, do what you want with me. Cause when I'm with you, I see things clearly. And I'm better when you're near me. No more gray skies over my head now. Sun's breaking through, and it's all because of you. Now there's no more gray skies over my head now. Sun's breaking through, and it's all because of you. Now there's no more gray skies over my head now. Sun's breaking through, and it's all because of you.
Yeah, we're live. That was our boy Al Bettis from Detroit. Terry Myers, that was for you. This is your last.
Well, you're a Detroit guy. I'll take it.
That was we filmed that. Gabe actually filmed that at the. I was with him at the Detroit Music Hall. So that right outside, like he was standing in the front. We were shooting him sideways, as you could see, but he was standing right out in front of the Aretha Franklin Jazz Cafe, which is, you know, when you sit in the green room there, you feel the angels, man. You feel, you know, all the people that have played there. I sat in a seat. I was sitting down in this spot, and it felt like you could feel this like insane, cool energy. And the guy who ran the place was like, "Oh yeah, that was, you know, that's where Aretha would sit every single night when she would come here." And I was like, "Whoa!" So,
the place reeks of soul. So
yeah, I can only imagine.
That's it. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Primetime. You know how this thing starts. We're going to do this. That's not how this starts. That was special. We did that.
That's how it started today.
That's how it started today. We don't know how this thing starts. This is how this thing starts.
Hey, everybody.
One day the song will come back.
One day we'll have Andy Lund here, I promise.
Yeah. And he'll play the song.
He's just traveling right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Terry Myers on the show. This is going to be his last prime time. He one final time. He's retiring here from Taylor Guitars at the end of the month, and we had to have him back on the show one more time. And we couldn't have thought of a better show than to have our guy Glen Wolff, service manager here at Taylor Guitars, jump on and ask some Q&A. We're going to answer some Q&A. We're going to do a live Q&A session. Get your questions ready. We're going to lead this thing for a little bit. We're going to get to know them a little bit better, play a couple of segments like we normally do. If you're new to the show, it's a Guitar Nerd Talk show. We talk a lot. It's a talk show. We nerd out, and sometimes we don't even talk about guitars for the first 20 minutes. So we hope you stay and join in. Mike and I have a couple. We're going to do a game of this or that like we have been doing with Glenn and Terry. It's going to be awesome. And a little what are you listening to? And then we're going to go into a live Q&A. The Q&A has rules. We're going to do this for about till 7 o'clock or East Coast time. A.M. 7 o'clock A.M. We're going to go around the clock here.
This is the Jerry Lewis Telethon Taylor Guitars edition.
We should do that sometime, Mike. People would really like it, I promise.
Yeah, the 4 a.m. guitar playing crowd.
They would love it, right?
Yeah, that's just another musician schedule right there.
Yeah, actually, they're just getting done with gigs on the East Coast about that time.
That's just a normal night.
We will be taking questions. So again, get your questions ready. For those of you who are not mainstays of Taylor Guitars, this is how we do this. So Taylor Primetime, excuse me. Recently, we've been having our friend Chad, also known as ChatGPT, write intros for our guests.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh,
so
boy.
I'm going to start with Glen Wolff, and let's see what Chad GPT, had to say about Glen Wolff. All right.
Saddle up, Glenn. You're in for some fun.
Who is Glen Wolff at Taylor Guitars? Only the customer service kingpin, the guitar whisperer, the hydration hero himself. Oh, this is getting good.
Oh, man.
Glenn's been rocking the scene at Taylor Guitars since before some of us were even strumming our first chords. Over 2 decades of pure guitar-loving wizardry. He started in the trenches of the repair shop, hands deep in wood and strings, making magic happen. Now, he's the big boss of the customer service team, leading them like it's a rock band on tour. Got a busted bridge? Glenn's got your back. Humidity drama? He's basically a guitar spa guru. Next time
right from the back of the Cracker Jack box.
There you go. Next time you call Glenn, call Taylor. Someone picks up. So next time you call Taylor and someone picks up with the claim, with that calm, confident, "Hey, how can I help you?" It might just be the legend himself. Hats off, strings tuned, and drinks raised. Glen Wolff. He'll be keeping your guitars happy and your vibes immaculate.
So if he was
Here's to hydration.
So if he was from New York, he'd answer and go, "What do you want?"
Yeah, totally.
That's what I do.
Yeah, that's what you do for sure. All right. You guys have met Terry before. He's been on the show a couple of times. So we had Chad write something about Terry. Who is Terry Myers at Taylor Guitars?
Oh, boy, I can't wait.
If you've ever played a Taylor and thought, dang, this feels like butter and sings like an angel, you probably have Taylor Myers to thank for that. That's good. Title.
Oh,
Special Projects. Title. Special Projects Master. Product Quality Manager. A.K.A. the guy who makes sure everything at Taylor Guitars is ready to melt faces and break hearts.
Whoa. Oh, wow. Okay.
What he does, he keeps Taylor's quality tighter than a snare drum. Oh, that's totally ChatGPT right there. Yeah. Lives in the fine line between perfection and passion. Works with artists in Nashville. What? Tweaking guitars to match their vibe like a musical tailor. Pun? Yes. Regret? No. Fun fact, Terry's not just backstage. He's he's the mix with artists, helping them dial in custom build setups and tone tweaks like some kind of luthier Jedi. So yeah, Taylor guitar.
That's not bad, man.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
You know what? It's pretty damn accurate.
I know. This is so good. So if Taylor Guitars were a band, Terry Myers would be the dude quietly holding it down in the rhythm section. Absolutely essential, but never stealing the spotlight unless
He's
it's
Malcolm.
unless it's to make your solo sound perfect.
And I would tell the drummer to slow down.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Terry Myers, Glen Wolff, we are happy to have you on the show. Welcome to Taylor Primetime. This is going to be a good one. All right, before we get into this or that, let's do a quick, what are you listening to, if you're okay with that, Mike? You want to do that? You like that?
Yeah, sure. But let's start with you, Jay. What are you listening to? I want to hear what you're listening to. I have a feeling you've been listening to some interesting stuff recently.
All right, I guess. I have been listening to some stuff. You guys know I'm a huge fan of music, all music, really. Sometimes I get in and talk about metal on this show. Sometimes I talk about hip hop and pop and other stuff, which is why lately, Mike, that you asked, this is why lately I've been listening to a lot of Dave Matthews Band.
I knew it.
Yeah,
I knew it.
Their genre is all music. A song that I've particularly been listening to lately is Number 34. It's mysterious, hopeful, introspective, and man, does it have soul. Are you looking for 4.5 minutes of complete bliss? I think you are. Check the track out yourself. Is it great? No, it's transcendent.
Oh.
The rhythm is gentle, but the groove is deep. Thanks to God-tier drumming by Carter Buford and Leroy Moore's sax playing. If you're going to check it out, don't just hear it on the Under the Table and Dreaming album. Treat yourself and listen to it live, the live version on Weekend at the Rocks. Ah, it's fantastic. All right now, Mike, what have you been listening to?
I've been listening to you spew some drivel about Dave Matthews Band.
Was that more ChatGPT talk right there?
Absolutely not. It wasn't.
No,
but I had to write a speech because I've been listening to Dave so much because Gabe loves Dave Matthews, Jordan loves Dave Matthews, Daria loves Dave Matthews. Dave Matthews he's the bomb, and I had to figure it out, and now I love him so much I had to write it down. There.
That was a heck of a review.
Okay. Wonderful. All right, Mike, we'll come back to you. Terry, what have you been listening to lately?
Later.
Me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you know what? Well, you hit on a nerve with that opening on the Detroit thing, because I've been listening to I'm a Detroit guy. What can I say? So I've been listening to a lot of like early Aretha, Smokey Robinson, Marvin Gaye. I've been going deep into the soul world of Detroit, even though, I still love, Iggy, the MC5, the more raw punk version of Detroit. But I've been listening to a lot of the soul stuff. That kind of hits me big time. Nice. Because if you don't like Aretha, you don't like music, period.
There you go.
Nothing better. Nothing better.
Glenn, what about you?
Well, I'll second what Terry said. I love the Motown, the soul stuff. I'm a big Stax music fan. The last thing I purchased, and I still purchase CDs and albums, was a band I just discovered. It was very soulful, but rock and roll soul, I think out of Texas, called Bishop Gun.
Yeah,
sounded
that's
like
a
some
cool
young
band.
guys. It came out. It looks like it came out right during COVID, and it probably killed them because they couldn't tour. But Smoking Band, check them out. I love the soul influence in everything: country, blues, rock. soul finds its way into everything. Everything I like. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's my turn.
Totally. Your turn, Mike. What have you been listening to? Rush.
Yes, but that's not what I'm talking about this time. I know, shocking. But what I've been listening to, I've been going through the entire Led Zeppelin catalog, and that's because I finally got a chance to see the documentary movie Becoming Led Zeppelin. It's now available on streaming services, and it is great, and it made me want more of the movie because it basically takes you from the inception. What is on my finger? From the inception to the end of when Led Zeppelin 2 comes out. So there's a lot more that happened with Led Zeppelin after that.
Yeah.
So I wound up downloading this Led Zeppelin biography. It's called Led Zeppelin: A Biography by Bob Spitz, and listening to the audiobook. It's 21 hours of audiobook about Led Zeppelin. Wow. And I did that on the road last week, and I finished that, and I said, well, now I need I need more. So I've been going through the entire Zeppelin catalog, listening to every album multiple times, and just kind of revisiting, why I love this band so much and why I picked up guitar in the first place. So that's really where my head's been at recently.
Big props for that Zeppelin movie, man. If anyone out there hasn't seen it, you got to.
Yeah,
you got to.
Yeah,
so
it's really good.
So good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. All right.
Even if you think you already know everything.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So how about a quick game of this or that?
I think we need that.
All right. So
Or
Mike and I both have this or that questions.
Yes.
I some of them might be for both Terry and Glenn. Some of them might just be directed towards one of them. We'll make that clear when we're asking. How about I go real quick, Mike?
Sure.
Go.
Yeah.
This is for both of you. A 12-string or an 8-string baritone. Wait, do you know how this or that works? You got to pick one. You don't need to explain it. You just got to pick one. That's how it works, right? So,
but if you want to explain it, you can, but you don't have to.
But if you don't want to explain it, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Are we playing it or fixing it?
We're playing it.
Oh, I love it.
You take it however you want to take it, but 12-string or 8-string baritone, Terry?
8-string.
Okay. Glenn?
12-string.
Oh, we got a fight on our hands. Mike, your turn.
Nice. This one is for both of you. Going to start you off with an ease. We'll ease into this. When it comes to acoustic guitar, gloss or satin?
Terry, you're going first on all these.
I'm going gloss. I'm old school.
I'll go gloss.
Ooh. All right. Can I go next? Yeah.
Yes.
Fender Deluxe Reverb or Vox AC15?
Ooh.
Terry.
You know what? I can get more out of a deluxe in the long run for what I do.
All right, there you go. Glenn?
Yeah, right answer. That is 100% correct.
Thank you, Glenn. I needed his approval.
Oh, so good. Mike?
This one is just for Glenn.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Edley's Catfish or the Meat and Three?
Edley's Catfish.
That's the right answer. That's the right answer. Edley's
Thanks
Catfish. Well, Edley's is a barbecue place in Nashville, and I'm the guy that just kept getting catfish, and Glenn's like, "What's wrong with you?" And so then he got the catfish. He's like, "Oh, wait a minute."
Yeah.
But their Meat and Three is always great too. So.
Oh man, that's an impossible question. But when it comes to Nashville, the first thing Glenn and I do when we get there is Edley's for catfish.
Look at that.
It is widespread.
And pickles. We need pickles with it.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
All right, I got a simple one. It's not very simple, but it's not hard, I guess. This is for both of you. Jazz or blues?
Oh boy.
Does anyone want to guess for both of us?
Yeah. I know the
Blues,
answer.
man, blues. Give me the
Exactly.
blues.
Okay.
I don't want to think that hard.
Right. It's like jazz is what did Andy Powers said to me once? He said jazz is music's version of a bunch of inside jokes. Yeah. I'm like, yeah,
Well,
I'm not that smart.
I'm going blues because that's where all the classic rock came from.
Right. Totally.
Agree.
All right.
And jazz is it's an experiment, according to Nigel.
It's true. It's true.
All right.
Blues all
This
the way,
is-
but I'm rooted in rock. So there you go.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
Mike,
more of a
go.
jazz blues guy as
You're a
opposed to a blues jazz guy.
I'm a blue jazz guy.
It's like, Bach and Mozart. It's a mock piece.
Got it.
So this is for both of you guys. Ibanez TS9 or Klon?
Oh, come on.
Simple.
Ooh, Glenn thinks
Come
it's
on.
simple.
Yeah.
You think it's simple? He thinks it's simple.
Well, what you got to say, Wolf?
I was waiting for you.
Oh, you're
I'm
waiting
going
for
Klon.
me.
I'm not a TS9
Uh,
guy.
out of the two, I'd have to go Klon because it's more open sounding and less compressed than a TS9. And I'm not a compression guy. I'm with Jack White. Don't like compression.
Got you.
And I'm sure Glenn concurs.
Yes. Yeah.
Come on.
Little. I like a little compression, but I need control of it. I don't like it served in heaping helpings like the TS9 gives you.
You don't like it too squishy?
I don't. Nope.
Squishy compression. Okay, I got it. Ready? I got one. This one's awesome. This is for both of you. A BC Rich Warlock or an Ibanez Gem?
You don't know what you just asked, Glenn.
Oh man.
I do.
Warlock, baby. My first guitar I bought with my own money was a BC Rich bitch, so I gotta go Warlock.
There you go.
Okay, what are the two choices?
Ibanez Gem or a BC Rich Warlock?
Oh, geez. I was blown away in the 70s the first time I walked into a store and I saw a BC Rich. I was floored, so I'm going BC Rich.
However, the Gem has
Uh-oh.
a handle. If
Well,
you lost-
I was
if you
still
lost
young
your
and
guitar
strong.
case, if you lost your guitar case, you can carry the Gem around.
The
I was
BC
still-
Rich
I-
has 4 handles.
I was
It
still
does.
young and strong. I didn't need a handle.
There you go.
The
All
BC Rich has more points than a compass.
right. True. Mike,
All right, this is for both of you. We'll start with Terry. Trem or hardtail?
Hardtail, because the trem should be used by nobody except like Jeff Beck, Eddie Van Halen, and Richie Blackmore. Other than that, leave it alone. Just let the originals do it.
I love it.
I'm going hardtail. Sorry, Rich Casciato, if you're out there listening. Hardtail all the way.
Hardtail. Hardtail. all the way.
Hardtail here too.
All right. I got a two-part, kind of the same question, but you'll see what I'm saying. So, this is for both of you. Grand Funk Railroad or MC5?
Grand Funk Railroad all the way, baby.
Yeah, me too.
They
Grand
took
Funk.
they took it to another level.
There you go. Okay. Dan Crary or Doc Watson?
Ooh, Doc Watson. Sorry, Dan.
I'll go Dan. I'm going Dan just because.
Ooh.
Wow.
They aren't the same person, Mike. Okay, Mike, your turn.
This one is more for Glenn, but Terry, of course, you can answer on this one. Old Bay or garlic and butter?
Yep, Old Bay.
Old Bay, Old Bay, all the way.
Oh yeah, man, love my Old Bay.
Old Bay.
Those Old Bay cheese
Glenn and I
things
still
at
go
the
out
top
to
of
Young-
my snack list.
Yeah, we still use it.
I got one. I got a final one for both of you guys. This
Go
one
for
may be a tough one. San Diego or Nashville?
Oh, wow. Whoa.
Nashville.
You know, San Diego for the weather and Nashville for music, 100%. So I guess since I'm a player and I have a ton of friends there, probably going to have to go Nashville.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Nashville has that energy. Jay, when you were talking at the beginning of the show about that feeling of sitting in the chair in the green room where Aretha sat,
Yeah.
I get that feeling every time I step off the plane in Nashville.
Yeah.
It's just, there's an energy in the air you can't explain, but it's there.
Yeah.
And I love
Yep.
it, man.
Yeah.
That's
You
true.
can,
And they got catfish.
and they got
Yes, they
catfish.
do.
You definitely can feel the angels when you walk off the plane in Nashville.
Oh, yeah.
There's just
Yeah.
so much rich history in music. It's great. Oh, Rob has a good one. Guinness or PBR?
Oh, geez, that's so easy. I'm Scottish, so it's Guinness all the way, dude.
Yeah.
That's easy.
All right, this one is specifically for Terry, and then I'm done. Coney dogs or just Detroit style pizza?
Oh, Coney dogs, when you get a good one, there's no pizza can compete with that. And Mike's going to big time disagree.
No, because Detroit style pizza,
Is wonderful and
it's
square.
good, but it's still not New York style pizza.
And
Oh,
they
my
couldn't
goodness,
be
that's
more
true.
opposite. They could
It
not
couldn't
be more opposite.
But you know
But-
what's better? See, Detroit's closer to New York, and it's in between Chicago and New York. And Chicago deep dish is the worst pizza on the planet.
So
It doesn't exist. It's not pizza. It's a bunch of bread with it's like stew. It's weird.
you know
Can't
what's
do it.
funny? The other day we were talking in my department about New York, you know, and the whole thing. And I'm explaining New York to this younger person that works in our room and the whole bit. And so I imitate a few New York things, and she goes, "Well, that's you, Terry." And I went, "Yeah, well, Detroit, I guess, is New York light, right?"
I mean, it's just as
We got-
scrappy.
We have attitude. We're scrappy.
That's true. I take exception. I know you take exception. This is great. You're right. Luis, it's so good. Anyway, Detroit's different. I just can't handle the Chicago thing. It's crazy. Now, Chicago thin crust pizza is fire.
I'll take any pizza over any hot dog any day, in case you're wondering.
Oh, there you go. Well, you know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to get your questions ready.
Yes.
Before I'm going to let you guys get your questions ready, we're going to do about 30 minutes of this. We're going to rapid fire these things. Get them ready. You got two of the most knowledgeable Taylor Guitars people ever on the show, and it's time. It's time to ask them anything you want to ask them, Portillo's in Chicago. I mean, that's for a beef. Sure,
Wait,
I
wait.
get
Let
it.
me punch back in because this is going to be just like picking up the phone at work.
Yeah, you need
You know,
to.
I do have a question about this whole thing in general.
Yeah.
I look at Mike and Jay, and
Yeah.
they're in these nice warm brown. They look like they just came out of tanning booths.
Yeah.
And Glenn and I look like white as a ghost, like we came out of Antarctica. What's going on there?
This
We
is called
do that.
terrible
Studio
lighting. This is terrible lighting that's going on here. I look, I can change that just by moving forward, and then I just turn pale as a ghost. So trust me, I'm not
It's no
tan.
fair. It's
I
no
am
fair.
Sicilian though, so you know.
I'm sitting in a studio. You know, we got lighting around me and cameras and stuff like that. That we do that intentionally so that we kind of can be as cool as our guests.
Terry,
That is
we're
why-
guitar players. We're supposed to be see-through. We play guitar.
Y'all got studio tans.
Yeah.
That's so good. All right. Ready? Before we get going, thanks for playing with us. Thanks for this or that. Thanks for joining the show, guys. This episode has been brought to us by the Builder's Edition A14CE Blacktop. So we have our friend Aaron Dablo,
Nice.
who's going to jump in for a minute and a half and tell us about that. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, it's Aaron Dablo with Taylor Guitars. We're here in the warehouse today on Taylor's campus, ready to show you today's guitar of the day. So let's take a look. Oh man, you talk about a tuxedo, classy looking guitar, right? So this is a Builder's Edition 814 CE in black top. The most popular guitar we make is the 814 CE, and it just takes it to the next level with player features and comfort and sound, right? So you've got a killer looking mirror finished black top on the spruce top, a rosewood, a very flamey looking rosewood pickguard. And what we do with the blacktop guitars is we usually try to pair it with a super marbled, variegated piece of ebony like you find here. This is our natural ebony that's got some flames and vanilla and caramel color to it. And that really offsets the body versus what the neck has. And that's a gorgeous, gorgeous looking guitar. You've got the element inlays here on the fretboard and the peg head with the Goto 510 antique gold tuners. And what do we do with 814 CEs when we pair it with the spruce top? That's a rosewood back and sides. And then with the black tops or with the Builder's Editions, we always shade the back and sides, right? Now with Builder's Edition models, you're getting all the player comfort that you could think of. Chamfered edges or rolled off edges, this nice beveled armrest. The bridge is a curved wing bridge, so there are no sharp points on the bridge. And even the fingerboard edges are rolled off. So super comfortable when it comes to player attributes, right? Contour, cutaway, and heel. So everything you can think of, this is an absolutely gorgeous guitar. Builder's Edition 814 CE black top. Thanks for checking out today's Guitar of the Day with us.
You know, I would buy a guitar from that guy in like 4 seconds. Same with you, Mike. You're good at that stuff. You're like,
I'd buy the
he's like-
guitar from him, or
no,
We
you're
probably
good-
have
you're-
bought guitars from him.
Yeah, you're
actually,
good at-
Glenn did buy a guitar from me, so there that did happen.
the way you guys communicate guitar to people.
Yeah.
I mean, I can
Look,
do
we're
it.
passionate. We
Yeah.
love guitars, you know. So I mean, it's not like we're using salesman's chops. It's like we open up the case and we're just like, wow, that's stupid awesome, and
Yeah.
we just want to keep it for ourselves, and we want to just tell how awesome it is to everybody. And if you like what we
Well-
say, then yeah.
Yeah, well, for me, it's a lifelong addiction. So what are you gonna
Yeah.
do?
So I'm going to kick off the question, if you guys don't mind, and then they're rolling in over here. You guys put your questions in the feed. We got about 30 minutes with these guys,
There's a lot of questions.
but one of the my questions are my questions basic, right? Terry, Glenn, Terry, you go first. Terry, how many guitars do you have?
I have an Excel sheet. I'm not real
All right,
sure,
he's got too many.
but it's 140 something.
Oh my goodness gracious!
That's
Glenn,
it?
how many guitars do you
Somewhere
have?
That's
there.
ridiculous.
I'm ridiculous.
I don't. Yeah, I think I'm still under 30, but I'm not positive. But right about there.
I'm the nightmare of every wife on the planet.
You make guys like me look good. I've only got 30.
That's so good. How
That's
many
a
guitars
starter
do you have?
pack.
How many guitars do you have, Mike?
I'm down to about 20.
Jeez.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I was around 40, and I'm like, I don't play like you guys do. I'm not in a band. I just and I have them all. I had them all in a 1-bedroom apartment. Now I have a 2-bedroom apartment. One of the rooms is just
Ooh.
filled with guitars. So
Yeah,
That a boy.
good reason to
Yeah.
have a spare room.
yeah, it's not spare anymore. That's the thing.
That's what it's for.
All right.
Exactly.
All right, it's time for Q&A. You guys get your questions ready. I know the questions will roll in. Here's a good one, Sambo. Sorry about your Chicago pizza thing, Sambo. I got you. But still, here's a good question. What is your guys' favorite Taylor model and why? Glenn, you go first.
Ooh. Well, for our newer guitars, man, that 814 CE Builder's Edition is just phenomenal for all the modern Taylor sound. It's
Yeah.
like the best of everything that we've ever wanted in a guitar, I think. So I'd go natural top, but the black top sounds just as good.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Terry, what about you?
I'm going with what I guess would be our legacy, one of our legacy models now, 514 CE.
Uh-huh.
The first day we made one back in 94, that one hit me where I lived. Mahogany back and side, cedar top. that just thing that thing was so sweet, and it just hit me because it's just this beautiful sound, whether you record it, whether you're sitting in a living room with it. And it wasn't too much or too little of anything, but I like the sweetness and the warmth of it. And man, that thing just hit me. It still does to this day.
Love it. All right, got another one. John Isaacs. How long should strings last? What makes them go dead? Great question.
You make them go dead, John, by playing your guitar. So how long should they last? It depends on you, how you play, how long you play, how acidic your fingers are. When they don't sound like they should, then it's time to change them.
Would you say, can I clarify a couple of things? Would you say
Yeah.
a thing that I always teach guitarists when I was on the road guitar teching was after you play, wash your hands. That's one thing. Or wash your hands, before you play. And then I would say, wipe your guitar down when you're done playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it totally depends on the player. Like myself, I don't have to wipe my strings down. I barely leave a fingerprint when I touch it. We've had guys that work at Taylor that grab your guitar and play it one time and the strings are dead.
Because
So
of the
it's
acid and the
that extreme.
oils?
Yeah. High pH levels in their skin or something. They're just string killers.
That's interesting. I love that. That's interesting.
There's
We've had
hard
artists like
answer. Yeah,
we've had
hard to
artists like
answer
that.
that.
I'm not going to name
Yeah.
any names, but there are artists that'll just kill strings. Like you'll do one, video session with them, and you play the guitar. You pick it up after they're done, and it's like plink, plonk, plonk.
Yeah, we've all
Wow.
been there.
Phil's got a question for both of you. What would you consider your greatest contribution to Taylor Guitars? Terry.
Back in the beginning, since I came from having my own business and time is money, back in Detroit, I had a business for years before I went to Taylor. I was already a builder, already a repair guy, the full deal. And one of my biggest contributions was early on when I doubled our production. I was able to do 4 guitars a day instead of 2 guitars a day. And so that kind of pushed itself back throughout the whole factory. And I doubled what we were able to send out per day. And that was a big deal when we were struggling and trying to get known. Nobody cared about us. Nobody knew who we were. And for me to come in and being a time is money kind of guy, and I just worked at that pace, it made a huge difference in what we put out every day. And that was the beginning of the love between Bob and I, what I was able to bring to the table.
Yeah. Glenn, what about you? You've been here 27 years. By the way, Terry's been here for 37 and Glenn has been here for 27. So between the two, that's more than 60 years of experience.
Yeah. It's a long time. And Terry's the one that hired me 27 years ago. I think just thinking back on that, getting hired at Taylor helps me answer this question, because I remember when I started at Taylor, I worked in the repair shop and Terry was the repair and service manager. So he would walk out of his office and just look at a guitar that's on the bench and tell you everything about it in about 3 seconds. And I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
How can he do that? I was like, I want to be able to do that. And I was able to learn how to do that from Terry. And I think my greatest contribution was at Taylor is simply being able to carry on what Terry had set up. He set a very high standard for customer service and repair at Taylor. And as the company grew and more of us needed to come in and take over parts of that, I was able to do that. And I was able to share it with many other customer service reps at Taylor who have, some of them moved on to positions in sales and other departments in the company, but being able to keep that level of service and consumer advocacy, just watching everything on both sides and making customers happy. You know, we want them to come back and buy more guitars.
We thank you for that.
Lunch
It's
is
so
on
tough.
me. Lunch is on me tomorrow, Glenn.
Correct.
Sometimes it's a
Cheers,
thing.
buddy.
I think both of you deal with sometimes it being a thankless job, but I could tell you that me and Mike are very grateful and thankful for
Oh,
what
yeah.
you guys do because you're really both great at it. All right, more
Oh,
questions.
thank you.
John Lord, my buddy John. How you doing, John?
You got
You should come back and say hi. Okay, there's that. I live 4 hours away from the nearest Taylor Service Center, Music Villa. Is adjusting the action with shims something I can do myself?
Yeah, we deal with this every day in customer service. So is it something you should do yourself if you're a gambling man? Yeah. If you don't mind risking a little bit, yeah. Because the thing is, the neck reset looks really easy on our demos, but I've also seen a lot of people damage their guitar by not really knowing exactly what they're doing. So when you contact us at Taylor, we're always going to try to talk you out of it. But in the end, we're not going to stand in your way. So if you really want to do it yourself, you know, we don't offer any instruction, but we'll send you a pair of shims. We'll just give you a list of measurements you got to take. You got to take the neck off and tell us what value shims are in there now. And we can send you some shims, but we're not going to walk you through it. We're not holding your hand. If you want to watch some videos on YouTube or something and do it yourself, you can. But it's like calling Ford and saying, hey, should I adjust my own carburetor? The guys at Ford are probably going to tell you no, but a lot of people do.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. You guys, this one's for both of you. You guys can duke it out. What model of Taylor would you suggest is the best for bluegrass?
Well, for me, anything with rosewood back and sides and a spruce top, that's where you're going to start.
Yeah.
For sure, because you want it to cut through, and after all, you are going up against a banjo,
Right.
which is a crazy loud instrument, and you need that mid-range cut to keep up with a banjo. So it's always going to be, and historically, if you look at it, it's almost always going to be rosewood back and side, spruce top, because you need the attack, you need the projection, you need the mid-range, and you need the volume. And you're always going to get the most out of rosewood back and side, spruce top.
There you go.
Yeah. Or get the old Dan Curry signature model, since we were talking about him earlier.
There you go, Dan. Okay. Here's one that has nothing to do with what you guys do, but Glenn probably knows. When will we know the winner of the giveaway? It takes
The
a few
giveaway.
weeks. Yeah, we had a giveaway that just closed. You didn't know that? You'll find out
I
tomorrow
didn't.
when you start getting emails. Usually there's a couple of weeks because we have to randomly select, where it's illegal to not randomly select the name. So it has to be randomly selected, and then we will announce the winner. You will be contacted if you won. And then I think you're contacted a few times, and if you don't answer, if you are the winner and you don't answer, then we have to randomly select another winner. So pay attention if you get a random phone number calling from El Cajon, California. Do you guys play your guitars every day? All 140?
Well, that's funny. No, I just due to the nature of our gig, I do a lot of side biz, and I'm at Taylor all day. So all day long, I'm picking up guitars and playing. And I was trying to think of something different every time I pick it up, so it's not boring. But yeah, I try to. In my case, no way I can play them all. No,
Right.
That's impossible. But yeah, I just 3, 4, 5 a day. Just pick them up, play a
That's
couple
right.
things.
That's
Just
awesome.
keep the inspiration and the passion and the fire rolling, because that's one thing I never lose is the passion and the fire.
No, it's
Yeah,
awesome hanging around both of you. Like you're both like Mike and I we were talking about this in pre-production earlier. You guys are guitar people. Period. There's nothing like you know, Glenn and I were talking about it last week with he was wearing some guitar pun t-shirt. Like they wear guitar pun t-shirts. You know what I mean? Like they are guitar people. It's so great. Glenn, do you play every
It
day?
is. I don't know. I mean, I'm just hearing Terry talk. That's one of the advantages to having, that kind of hands-on gig where you've got a bench and you've always got guitars around and you can grab them. I'm more kind of chained to the computer at work, honestly, computer and phone. I've got guitars all around me, and but I'll go for days at a time without playing anything. Eventually you get the itch. It's like, I just got to bust one out of the case and sit on the couch for a while, if nothing else. So I can't go too long without playing at all, but not every day.
Yeah. I feel like I pick up a guitar in the shop every day and play a little something and then put it down.
Yeah.
That's about it. I probably should spend more time playing, that's for sure. Daria's
We
got
all
a
should.
question. We should.
Yeah.
Daria's got a question. Where's the cedar? Did it get rare? It was always my favorite top. Cedar, Indian Rosewood. She has a 714 CE. It was her favorite tone combo. Oh, do we know why we're not using as much cedar?
Well, you know what? All I have to say to Daria is that, the legacy model 514 CE, my favorite Taylor of all time, cedar top, mahogany back and sides. It exists. We were making it.
Well, we're doing the 714 legacy too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So yeah,
go either way. Both with cedar.
it's there, and to me, you're getting the best of cedar that there ever was. 514 CE.
Yeah. 514 CE is so good. So, Dar, that makes a good piece of content we can make. We can do a 514 CE versus a 714 CE. That would be brilliant. You could hear how the back and sides actually help.
Yeah,
the tonality.
cedar on either one of those is amazing.
Yeah,
But is
great.
cedar harder to come by these days, Terry? Have you heard anything?
I think if it was harder to come by, I'd know about it. So I would say no.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's just, you get into these modes where you do certain things, and we're kind of circling around back to a lot of what got us there. And so cedar's starting to come back into fashion.
It's funny that you say fashion because it does kind of go like that with guitars, right?
It does.
Guitars tonally and looks wise are very much like fashion. It's like it's in now.
Yeah. It
then
is.
25 years later, it's in again.
Yeah.
Then 25 years later, it's in again.
No,
Yeah.
it's true.
We've been using tons of Sinker Redwood, which is that same kind of palette.
Yeah.
So we've been there tonally.
Yeah.
But that's mostly higher end models too. So
Yeah, and redwood falls into the same wheelhouse as cedar tone-wise.
yeah.
Yeah. It's really interesting you talk about trend, Mike, because that's something we have to be aware of on the artist side big time.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, for about the last 12 years, there's a generation of artists who, when they started, were cutaway people, and now they're non-cutaway people, right? And it's this trend that's been going this way. And now you hear a lot of, people want more traditional sound. They want more vintage, something a little bit more familiar. That's interesting that you say it that way. It's truly like fashion. All right, I got another question. This is a great question. Holy smokes. If you could bring back a discontinued Taylor model, which one would it be? Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, man. For me, just for fun, just for shits and giggles, as they say. But there was a guitar we made back around, I'd say around 1990, 91. We called it the Jazz Bow, right? It was extremely unique. At the time, we put jumbo frets on it. It had an oval sound hole. It was more of a jumbo-sized body. and there's probably about 20 of them out there in the world. And I just think, I don't know why we called it the jazz bow. Maybe it just kind of, something struck us about calling it that at the time. But I think that would be just such a unique, really cool guitar to bring back as far as just the uniqueness. It's one of the most unique guitars we ever made, the least of anything we ever made besides artist. And yeah, I think that would be really, if we were going to bring back something for a limited thing, that'd be a really fun, unique one to throw out there, because it's so unlike Taylor, which is why I like it.
That's awesome.
I just saw a picture of it. I just
Yeah.
went on the Googles.
The Googles.
Yep, and
Yeah,
it's
the
a
Googles.
J15 jazz bow.
J15.
Yeah.
Wow, that is an interesting guitar.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. I was just answering a consumer question about that model last week. Someone wrote in about it.
Really?
Wow.
Wow, what
Yeah.
a trip.
Yeah.
It's coming full circle with all of us here.
I think
Fashion.
about one of the guitars that got away for me was when we did our 30th anniversary grand concerts. It's when we kind of redid our whole approach to grand concerts back then. We did a Koa version with Engelmann top, and pretty sure it was Engelmann spruce in any case. But anyhow, I picked one out for a buddy, and it was the most beautiful set of Koa you've ever seen, and I still lust after that one. So if I could bring one back, it would be that, because it's the one I should have bought for myself. I told him I get first dibs if he ever sells it.
I love it. Mike, do you have one you'd bring back?
Oh. You know, I mean, we always have the one that got away. I have like a dozen. But I gotta be honest, one of my favorite guitars we ever made of the more modern era was a limited edition 714 CE Sassafras, which was
Sassafras
probably
is fun to say.
fun to say. And like I always say, if you don't like the way it sounds, you can grind it up and make it into a T. But there was something about those guitars. We made them, I don't know, maybe about 8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And they were among the most balanced sounding guitars I think I've ever played. And I rue the day that I did not pick one of those up for myself. I really do kick myself for that, because they look good. They sounded incredible. And maybe one day down the road, I'll, ask somebody to be like, hey, do we got some extra sassafras? I'd like to recreate this, but
I don't know.
today's not that day.
I think we have a few models coming out of this episode.
Ah, see what you did there. All right. All right, I got another question. Kevin's got a question. Other than humidity, what is the most common reason that a guitar would need to be repaired?
Well, for us, I would say a neck angle adjustment is pretty common, because you can, which is amazing that you can. Yep. It's a basic adjustment on our guitar. So for setup wise, that's real common. Electronics repairs happen. There's a lot to electronic systems. And other than that, humidity is definitely number one. Take care of that, and you will never have any major problems. So there's my humidity plug for the episode.
I love it. I got one. I got a good one. You guys ready for this one? This one's a really, really tough question. It's going to be hard for you guys to answer. If you need a little help and you need to call a friend, you can. In fact, you could probably call the person who's asking the question. Okay? And that question is,
oh boy,
who is your favorite spruce vendor?
Oh, jeez. That's so funny. I talked to Breeder today. Yeah, Eric. Well, that would be Pacific Rim Tonewoods up in Concrete, Washington, because they supply like 99.9% of spruce to the entire industry.
Yeah.
And Eric, who's, one of the best guys you'll ever meet, Steve McMahon owns it. Yeah, that's just Who's my favorite? Well, of course. Pacific Rim Tonewoods, Concrete, Washington.
I love when Eric visits and brings us salmon.
Where else you gonna go? And he sends us buckets of salmon all year.
So. Oh yeah.
I like when Eric visits and he just slays me with jokes. They're all very sly. He's so dry. It's just, Eric, you're great. Thanks for joining, coming along. Oh, here we go. Are some guitars no longer using ebony?
Yeah, a lot of them.
Next
question.
Answer.
Yeah.
Do you have any Can you enlighten us with that just a little bit?
We've been using some alternative woods for fingerboards and bridges. Eucalyptus mainly as an alternative wood. So yeah,
that was on all the American Dream guitars for a while there. It was eucalyptus fingerboards and bridges.
Yeah, and some Takati models now. We have to. The ebony is not a limitless resource.
Yeah.
We need to work in some other, and they're
Um,
doing it.
Okay. I got a couple more questions here. One of them is not in here. Do you think we'll ever use some of the Honduran rosewood for fingerboards, like Powers Electrics, on Taylor's?
I'd say it could happen. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're using it on bridges.
Yeah, I think we should. Bridges. I think we should.
I think it would be cool.
I don't see any reason why not. I think we should.
Yeah. All right. You got that. All right. Ooh, setup concerns. Any setup concerns if you use 13s as opposed to 9s or 11s, as many of my friends use? Whoa.
Are we talking on acoustic or electric?
Acoustic or electric. That's a big swing here.
Yeah, like 9s on an acoustic.
I think we put, for Justice West, do we put 10s on an acoustic?
Yeah, I've put 10s on a lot of artist guitars over the years. Quite a few.
Peter Sprague uses 10s.
That's my old buddy Bill Harrington.
Bill Harrington.
Question. Yeah.
Not unusual.
So let's go. What are the concerns then? What would you need to do if you went from 13s to 10? Well, let's meet in the middle. 10s. What would you need to do to set that guitar up differently?
Dude, my advice from customer service, because we get this question too, try not to go any lighter than 11s on an acoustic if you're going to be playing it acoustically. It just doesn't sound good. There's not enough energy to drive the top. Try 11s on your acoustic. If it's still hard to play, get a setup. There's probably some other reason you're fighting it, not just the string gauge. Most of our guitars, that even ones we sell that are set up with 12s, can handle 13s tuned to standard pitch. It's not going to hurt the guitar. It might pull the top just a little bit more. You might see a hair more bellying. You might need to tighten the truss rod a hair, but it's not going to hurt the guitar.
Wow. You know what's interesting? I've been, Glenn, you are the guitar whisperer. I'm going back to what ChatGPT said. You might not be the guitar whisperer, but you are the guitar player whisperer for sure. Early on when I started working here, we had this guy going crazy on Twitter about how terrible Taylor Guitars was, and Taylor, the worst, and the worst, this, that, and the other, the worst service, and the worst, everything was the worst with this guy, right? And so I talked to Glenn. I was kind of new. I talked to Glenn, and he goes, you know what? Have him email this email or call this number, and he gave me the email and the number, and he said, publish it right on Twitter and say, call us and ask for our service manager. Long story short, the guy bought a guitar that was, and I want to say it was a 414 CE or something like that, and it was in an extremely humid location. I want to say he was in Florida. The thing had been hanging on the wall for years, and he got it at a discount. So he couldn't. He had it was the greatest deal ever, but he bought it when he had a broken arm, so he never played with the guitar. And so by the end of it, Terry's like, or excuse me, Glenn's like, well, the guy had a broken arm. Now he doesn't have a broken arm, so we sent the guitar to a service guy. They set it up, and now he went on Twitter and he was telling everybody how we're the greatest ever. So you are the guitar player whisperer.
It sounds
for
so
sure.
easy. Sounds so
It is.
easy.
Sounds so easy. All right, couple more questions. Terry, how many guitars are not Taylor's out of your 140? He's like 139.
Yeah, but yeah, about 125.
Not a lot of Taylors. All right, that's good.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
you
that's
know,
still
I'm
15.
Not a lot of Taylors in ratio, but I mean,
Right.
that's still like 15 or so
Yeah.
Taylors, which is nothing to sneeze
Right.
at, you know?
yeah, that's still
Good
a lot
point.
of acoustic guitars. It so happens
It's
that
so good.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm a Detroit rocker, so you know, electric guitars and volume and loud amps. Well, you know, that's what hit me when I was young, but acoustic guitars, I'd say acoustic guitars really came into fashion when I started hearing Zeppelin's third album,
Hmm.
and at that point I was like, oh, there's some serious merit here to acoustic guitars, like Gallows Pole.
Yeah.
That song made me go, I need an acoustic guitar. And then I realized the value of acoustic guitars when I heard Gallows Pole. Literally.
Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I got it. I lost a question up here. That was a good one. All right, ready? We are acoustic guitar manufacturers. We sell new guitars. It's preface for this question. Do you agree that used guitar is better than a new one?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, depends on the guitar. You know, a great used guitar that's perfectly set up and awesome might be better than a new one. Depends on the new one you're comparing it to.
It's a good answer.
Yeah.
Glenn,
Yeah.
you got something for that, Terry? Go.
No, I agree.
All right. Agree to disagree. Just kidding. Agree. Agree to agree. Glenn, what's the oldest Taylor you've ever worked on?
Oh, well, last year we purchased back from the original owner the very first serialized Taylor ever made. And I did work on that a little bit. I got to very carefully clean the frets, lightly polish it, and put some new strings on it. So that's the oldest one.
Love it. First ever serialized Taylor guitars. All right, John has a question. Does spruce become tonally more like cedar over time?
My answer, no, because spruce has a more aggressive projection. It has more volume, and if you get into the science of wood, as time goes by, and you know the cell structure within the wood changes, blah 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 blah, and as time goes by, a spruce guitar is going to get louder. As time goes by, it's going to get louder because the cell structure changes within the wood. All these little things inside crystallize. And so a spruce guitar gets louder with time. A cedar guitar does the same, gets louder with time. But the spruce is always going to be the more aggressive, louder guitar over time than cedar, relatively speaking. So
Interesting.
is cedar going to catch up to it? Not really, because they're both aging in the same way as
Yeah.
time goes by.
That's interesting. Here's a good question by some weirdo. JR would like to ask Glenn a question. Am I wrong for leaving my clip tuner on my headstock while I play?
JR, you know the answer to this question. Yes, you're wrong. Take the tuner off when you're performing. It's a practice tool.
There we go. Thank you.
It looks weird.
It looks so weird.
He
when
knows my
people are
pet peeves. JR worked in customer service for
Yeah,
30 years,
he's
right?
he's punking us with that. It's like, come on,
He knows
JR,
what buttons to push.
So wait a second.
Hey,
Wait a second.
go
Do you feel the
organic.
do you feel the same way with a capo?
No.
Oh, you will leave a capo on the headstock, but you won't leave
Capo's okay. Yeah.
tuner.
Tuner on the peg head is just
Man,
laziness.
I'm both.
You should have
I'm
a pedal
both.
tuner.
I'm
You're
both.
both? You
You
don't
should
want the
have
capo up
some
there?
sort of. You should get a mic stand tray and put your capo and your tuner, or just use a pedal tuner. Okay, I'm done. Boy. Rich Cashato, you're always we. I'm not we anymore. You
Rich,
are we,
really?
my friend. Come on, you're always we.
I don't know if he's as much we as he is us.
That's true.
Whatever that might mean.
Cliff has a question. What's a good Californian source tonewood combination for rhythm guitar with bass and warmth in a GA body?
Go for it, Glenn.
Or Mike.
Well, Urban Ash.
Yeah.
Would that be the 524 now? Builders?
Yeah.
Yep. 524. Yep.
With mahogany top.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Well,
I was gonna say the same
top's
thing.
The top's not from California though.
No.
That's a tough one. I don't know if we could do that all California.
No, but that Builder's Edition 524 CE is pretty incredible because it's going to have that warmth of that hard top on it.
Yeah, it's going to have that. Yeah.
I'm sure in custom we could probably build like a Sinker redwood walnut.
Oh, that's interesting.
The walnut tends to be a little bit more high MIDI.
High MIDI. Yeah. Huh. Okay. That's what we got.
Something like that.
We hope that answered your question. Neil's got a question for us. For the Wayback Machine, what replacement tuners for my 2003 Baby Taylor?
The same thing we're using now on the babies. We've got them. Just call customer service. They're not on the website, but you can call us and buy a set for about $50.
Yep.
Okay. This goes out. Okay. This goes out to Glenn and myself by a guy named Argel Valdez. Who was your favorite employee and why was it Argel? Glenn.
Oh, yeah. I usually don't take to drummers, but Argel was okay.
Argel was great. I'm the same way, but he was a drummer who played guitar too.
He snuck it in, yeah.
He snuck it in. That's right.
Yeah.
Argel's a good guy, man. Good
he's a
guy.
great
Cheers,
guy, man.
cheers,
Yep.
buddy.
You only had to
Great to
speak
hear from
slower
you.
to him. You only had to speak a little bit slower to him.
There we go.
That he's
Here
a
we go.
drummer, you know.
You had to speak to him like this. Argel.
Drummer jokes.
Have you seen that pedal? There's a meme going around that's it's a Boss pedal and it's been supered over and it says blame shifter and then one of the selections
Oh,
is
yeah.
drummer.
Yep.
Love it. All right,
That knob doesn't turn either. It's just always pointed.
It's
there.
stuck.
Mike. When will the custom select program launch on the website?
Not tomorrow.
Okay.
There you go. It's gonna be a little bit.
Lark has a question. Should we oil on the fretboard? Should we oil the fretboard?
You should oil the fretboard, yeah.
What
About
oil
once
should
every
we
6
use?
months or so. Use the Taylor fretboard oil. Yeah, don't overdo it. Just put a little bit on a rag and wipe it over the fretboard after you've cleaned it. Don't soak it. Wipe a little on, wipe off the excess, and get on with it. It looks
And-
beautiful.
Looks
Yep.
beautiful.
And if you happen to be a car mechanic, motor oil, it might smell a little. You might want to avoid that.
Yeah, don't use motor oil.
I actually have a question to that end. So how often should you use like a lemon oil on the fingerboard? Or how much
Once or
should I
twice
say
a
is
year.
too much? Yeah.
Well, the danger of doing too much is like I've seen people just pour it in or pour it on and let it soak in. It gets down in the fret slots and it can actually cause damage down in there. Just
And it
leave
feels like your
soaking.
guitar's like,
Yeah.
right?
You don't need
Squish it.
much. You're just
Just a
cleaning the
tiny bit.
surface, wiping a little bit over it once or twice a year. You know, just depending on how much you play, how dirty your fingers are when you're playing.
I would when I toured and guitar teched, I used to have guys that would have really acidic fingers, right? And they would just burn through strings, and their fingerboards were just gross. And I would clean those fingerboards, and this is how I would do it. I had a little pouch, and I had a little tiny, took a small square of paper towel, and I folded that up and had it in a pouch. And I added a little oil at the beginning of the tour, and that's as much oil as I would use the whole tour. I would use the same rag and stick it back, use the same rag, and then wipe it off with a dry paper towel. And it was really simple.
Now, Rich Casciato mentions not olive oil. I disagree. A little bit of olive oil on a slice of fresh mozzarella, and you slide that up and down the fingerboard. I think you're good. Take it on home.
My other question, Mike, would be pineapple on fingerboard?
No pineapple on fingerboards, pizza, or anything except maybe an ice cream sundae.
And out of your 140 guitars, Terry, how many of those are Squires?
The Squires have gotten exceptionally good the last 3-4 years. So I never used to buy Squires, but over the last 4 or 5 years, that the quality's gone way up, and they've really gotten good at what they do in the other countries. I'd say I probably have about 35 of them that are great guitars.
I love it. All right, we got a couple more questions because we're going to wrap this show up in about 5 minutes. This has been awesome, by the way. Super fun. All right, Phil's got a question. If you could design your dream guitar, why would it be a BC Rich Warlock? That's not the question. If you could design your dream guitar, what would it be? Your dream Taylor. Let's call it a dream Taylor.
Oh, your dream Taylor? Gosh. I don't know. I don't shop that way. So
okay.
That's a hard one.
If you could build your dream guitar, let's loosen this thing up a little.
Well, that's the thing. I'm a man of very simple needs. I can just take
a telly.
Most basic telly. No binding, no nothing. Doesn't even need a neck pickup. It could be an Esquire. I'm good with that. You know, I don't think about guitar designs. You know, I've always been more into the repair side and just loving it for what it is.
Yeah.
I went through, you know, when I learned how to mod guitars, I did everything you could have possibly imagined. And then I settled back to, you know, I'm just going to buy the guitar for what it is and leave it alone. And that's where I am now. So I don't really have that dream guitar that I'm needing to design.
You know, if I had to, just for a little bit of nostalgia and a little bit of Larry Braidlove, Terry Myers stuff, I'd probably do some cool version of an old Taylor artist. And I wouldn't put any finish on it. I'd want that thing to be wood, nothing but wood. And I would want that thing to sing like no other. It's like nothing, just wood and steel. Wood and steel. And you know what?
So sweet.
I don't need the finish. I don't need all the glossy stuff. I don't need all that. It's a tool of the trade. I'm a tone guy. I'm going for tone. I want tone. I don't want anything coloring the wood itself. I don't care if it looks crappy. I don't care if you don't like the way it looks, the sound of it. I do some version of the old Taylor artist, and it would be all wood. And I'd say, don't put any finish on it. I want that guitar raw as Mother Nature intended it.
But oil your fingerboard.
Yeah, but oil your fingerboard.
Well, maybe.
Once a year. Once a year.
Or just dip your fingers in olive oil like they said.
Yeah, I like that. I like really raw stuff that just sings and does what the wood is intended to do. But you know, the world they like pretty things. They like accents. They like to put suits on things, you know, and I get that. I get it. I love that stuff just as much as anybody. But for just that raw working man's thing, yeah, dummy it down to nothing for me.
Love it. All right. Should you change the nut if using a different string gauge of strings?
No, don't change the nut. If you're going heavier and they're binding, you might have to open the nut slots a little bit wider, but you don't need to replace the nut. If you're going way smaller, like a Nashville tune guitar, you might want to. But try to get by without replacing the nut. That's one of the most difficult pieces to replace correctly on the guitar. So don't mess with it if you don't have to.
Amen.
Oh, here's an interesting one. A friend of mine a few years ago told me once that Taylor guitars didn't need as much humidity as other guitars, or I can't remember if he was talking about certain Taylor guitars, anything like that. Anything to that?
No, all solid wood guitars are going to need the same kind of humidity control. You want to maintain them at 45 to 55% relative humidity. Doesn't matter who made it. Do it.
True. We all build. All of us builders, a lot of people don't realize when you start bashing one against the other, we all adhere to the same things when it comes to moisture content of the wood on the floor before we build a guitar out of it, the humidity and temperatures we build at. Everybody's almost identical because that's what works. So when you start comparing one to other, we all do things and adhere to the same rules because it's what you have to do to build a good guitar and have it last out in the world.
This is so awesome. Don't you need some finish to control the humidity?
Finish has nothing to do with humidity control. It is not a vapor barrier. Water molecules pass right through the finish. That's why the inside of the guitar is unfinished. There's no reason to put finish in there. It's not going to hold the moisture into the wood. So finish has nothing to do with humidity control. The finish is there to protect the surface of the wood from your skin, oils, things like that.
And I have something to add to that. If you live in a 100-year-old farmhouse and in the summer, your doors, all the doors to all your rooms, they stick and they're harder to open and close. And then magically in the winter, they open and close really easy. And they've got about 80 coats of paint out of them in the last 100 years of the house's age. The wood moves no matter what you do or how much finish you put on it. So Glenn's absolutely right. That finish doesn't matter. The humidity matters.
That's great. All right, got a couple more questions. We're going to do three more questions.
All right.
Ian Myers, which one of your kids is your favorite, and what makes Ian so great?
Well, let's see. This Ian guy, whoever he is, I know he shares a last name with me, but yeah, somehow magically he knows how to do everything that I don't, and I'm not sure where that came from, other than he watched me remodel 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 houses, but somehow. Yeah, Ian, you're my favorite. You know how to do way more than I do, and I don't know how you got there, but I'll take your brain any day.
Hold on. There's a good one. Ooh.
I love that kid.
This one's good. This one's great. V-class or X bracing?
Ooh.
I like them both. What?
Pick the right tool for the job,
Yeah, that's the thing.
right? Chocolate or vanilla, you know?
That's such a subjective question. Just depending on your tone and what you like. Everybody has a sound in their head they like that they go for. So no matter what guitar you give them, they'll get their sound out of it, right? Whether it's electric guitar, an amp, acoustic, people just manage to get their sound out of that instrument. So it's a subjective thing. Tone is the other four-letter word, right? You could argue about it all day, but everybody's got their thing. So what's better? Who can say? What's better is what you like.
Yeah,
And then you can fight to the death over it.
that's a good point. Sounds like you've been here for 37 years too. How does gloss or satin affect the tone? Satin or gloss affect the tone?
It's not the type of finish so much as the thickness, I would say. So usually glossy finish is going to be thicker. It just has to be so you can buff it and everything, even if you're trying to make it as thin as you possibly can, like we've done on many models. But overall, you can get a much thinner finish if you're just spraying satin and don't have to touch it. So that's how I would answer that one.
And my thought on that is that my wife, one time we were at a NAMM show, and she's talking about how great this other brand guitars looks. It's like she goes, they're like a sheet of glass. And I went, yeah, well, that's because there's a ton of finish on it making it look that way. And I said, you really don't want that much finish on a guitar. If it's sinking into the grain a little bit and you see that, that's actually a really good sign, because that means the finish isn't too thick, hampering what that guitar can put out.
Well said. Well said.
Well done,
All
Rich.
right, I got one more question, and this question is not for either of you. It's for Mike. Ignoring cosmetics, which series of Taylor guitars give you the best bang for the buck? 300s?
Yes, and the 400s and the 500s and the 600s.
Spoken
and
like
the
a true sales
700s
guy right
and
there.
the 800s. Really, it's bang for buck is relative and subjective, right? Just like what Terry was saying. So, I mean, if you're looking for something that's going to give you great tone that you love, and it's at a price that you like, then it gives you the best bang for your buck, right? You know,
Yep.
Because I've played very expensive guitars that don't sound good. And I've played some very inexpensive guitars that sound amazing, but it's not any one particular thing. I'm not talking about Taylor. I'm just talking in general, but we can't necessarily say like, well, pound for pound, this series of guitars is going to give you them, because it might work for you, but it may not work for somebody else. So they may not, their mileage is definitely going to vary. Your mileage might vary. So I can't say biggest bang for the buck, the 300 series. I will say that there is an incredible value in 300 series guitars, being that they're USA made, solid wood, well-constructed, super consistent guitars made of quality tone woods. So yes, but everything from 300 series and up is like that, right? What you like within there, that's really where the rubber meets the road. And that's where you're going to get the bang for your buck, because I always tell people, I never want to spend, say, $2,500 on a guitar and be pretty happy. I want to be ecstatic, right? And if that means that a $4,000 guitar that I play and fall in love with from Strum 1 is the one, then I'm waiting until I can afford that guitar. So bang for buck is a relative term. I'm not gonna say which series gives that, because they all provide something for somebody else. So
Good
Yeah.
answer.
You're great.
Good answer.
You're great.
I know that guy, Mike. He's a troublemaker, so you answered it well. Thanks for chiming in, Jeff.
Know that guy. All right, here's another one. One last troublemaker, if you guys don't mind.
Bring it
You
on.
mind? Okay.
Bring it on.
Why do Terry and Glenn look so
Oh, wow.
Well,
Ostler.
when your eyesight starts to go from looking at too many fret files, it's hard to judge. So, Joel, get some glasses.
So my answer to Joel, since you kind of walked into Taylor back when you were, let's see, 18, 19?
Yeah.
Hey, Joel, why do you look so old?
That's so good. All right. I got, first of all, this guy again. This guy.
Knew it.
I knew it.
Knew it. This guy again. Ian, you're great. That's awesome.
Ian, you're the best.
So I got one last question. Thank you, everybody, joining in. Thank you for throwing questions on the board over here. It's fantastic. It's always great hanging out with these guys. I had an opportunity to. We actually, believe it or not, have another podcast that we're going to launch. We'll leave the name later. I used to co-host Taylor podcast called From the Factory, and then my co-host Cameron left Taylor, and it left it in kind of shambles, and I didn't want to do it alone. It's nice to have somebody to ask questions with. So we are starting another podcast. It's not going to be From the Factory. We'll leave the name to be determined later, but we had an opportunity. My friend Jim Curlin, who will be on the show in 2 weeks. Jim Curlin is our editorial director here at Taylor. If you are a Wood and Steel fan, he has been editor-in-chief of Wood and Steel forever, it seems. Jim and I had an opportunity to sit down with Terry Myers and actually dive into his entire career here. And it was probably one of the most fun things that I got to experience. Terry has been a wealth of knowledge. He's from the get-go. I've been here. I celebrated my 9th anniversary last week. Mike celebrated his 12th anniversary today.
Yep.
Congrats, buddy.
Thank you.
I can say that we are looking at some relatively elder statesmen. You've been here for much longer than we have, me and Mike. And Glenn, I got a question for you. And I got to sit with Terry, and you got to experience 27 years with Terry. So last question I have is, Glenn, what did you learn the most from Terry Myers?
You're talking about our work.
I'm talking about anything.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Gosh. Put me on the spot.
I know.
Well, the work is on top of my mind, so I'll jump there first. I learned some great people skills, how to negotiate with customers, how to speak
In
in a way that, yeah, thanks. Yeah, there he goes. No, just how to handle the situation. It's okay to be human. We're not corporate. We're not too corporate. We're working with guitars after all, and we get to have fun with what we do, and we try to keep it that way. So just that attitude overall.
Yeah, Terry's always, even when
We're gonna miss him around here, man.
Even when he's frustrated, he's got a
we're
smile
counting
on
down
his
the
face.
last couple weeks. So it was a pleasure to do this with him and you guys. So thanks for the invite.
So
Yeah,
you're
man.
gonna play?
Thanks for
You're gonna
being
play Happy Trails for me, or what?
I got it. No, we're not.
Maybe
gonna
the
play
Van,
anything.
maybe the Van Halen version of Happy.
Yes, we
Trails.
could do a cappella, the three of us, just for
Nah. We're gonna do one thing. We're gonna do one thing and one thing only, and the feed knows what's coming, and Mike knows what's coming. But I'm gonna do a little send off here, Terry.
We're walking the ducks.
Feeding the ducks. Feeding
I'm
the
sorry,
ducks.
feeding the ducks. No, we could walk them too.
This song's called "Feeding the Ducks," and Terry Myers. It's been a pleasure having you on the show for one last time. Terry, it's been great working with you for 9 years. I appreciate another guy from that Detroit area, Michigan. You're the best. We wish you the best, and have a good retirement, my friend.
Hell yeah.
Oh no, you know what happens next. We should end the show. All right, everybody. We love it. We love you guys. You guys are fantastic. Thanks for joining us every year. You guys got a real treat here. There's Glenn and Terry at the same time. My co-host Mike. The other guys will be back next episode. We got Jim Curlin jumping on. We got Rob McGargle jumping on with me and Mike. And we're going to dive in some really fun stuff. And I see Rich Cachado down there in the feed, and I think it's time to bring Rich back on the show. So, Rich,
And
get ready
and
for
all
an invite.
all you people that have been part of my life throughout it, Taylor, thousands and thousands, from artists to just everyday players, man. I can't thank you enough for playing a Taylor guitar, helping us get where we did, being supportive, because it's just like a band, Taylor Guitars, it's like a band. We couldn't have gotten there without all the people, all the support, all the love. So no one's appreciated more than you, because nothing else would have happened without all of you people. So my heart goes out to all you players that helped us get where we are, and hopefully you keep singing our song. That's all I can say, man. You're genuinely appreciated by me, that's for sure, and I'm sure everyone else.
That was well said, Terry. Everybody, when the Terry podcast comes out, named to be announced later. When the Terry podcast comes out, we'll share it with you guys and make sure you guys get to see it. But it was a fun, deep dive into Terry's life, and it was just here at Taylor and before Taylor, so it was spectacular. Terry, we truly wish you the best. And Glenn, man, it's been awesome having you on the show. Mike?
All the same to you guys, and my best buddy, Glenn, like my brother.
There you go. All right, everybody. We're going to say
Thanks,
peace. Man. We'll see you next time.
See you guys,
in
man.
2 weeks on the
Rock on.
29th or something like that. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
See ya.